You are probably terrible with money. Credit card debt is at an all-time high.
So get this, a new report says 2 in 5 Americans think credit card debt is embarrassing.
Loans and credit cards. Tom Costello is now on the growing economic uncertainty and what you need to know about dealing with debt.
A majority of Americans can't afford a $1,000 expense without going into debt. And even 1/3 of people that earn $250,000 a year or more live paycheck to paycheck. But is this a good thing for the small minority that do keep their spending in check? Or can we afford for everybody to be financially responsible?
As it turns out, we're spending almost $18,000 a year on non-essentials.
There's a new survey out revealing baby boomers are unprepared for retirement, having less than half of what they'll need in savings.
Man, a recent survey from Edward Jones shows more Americans than ever are this close to a financial disaster.
If everybody was financially responsible, there would be nobody left to spend money on disposable consumer junk, overpriced restaurant meals, lease pickups, and day trading courses, but all of these purchases give other people a job. If you are being financially responsible, are you denying an opportunity to somebody else to be financially responsible? And does that mean that you should be grateful to all of the people living paycheck to paycheck? The average American is not in a comfortable financial position at the moment, and it's the same story everywhere around the world. Money that people saved in the pandemic has evaporated, and credit card debt has taken its place. But how much of this is reckless? And how much of this is what people who do not make enough money do to keep up? People are being financially irresponsible, but they are also being financially f***ed, and those are not mutually exclusive. If you think of someone who is financially responsible, or you want to be financially responsible yourself, there are a few things you are going to need. An emergency fund and retirement savings are a must. Most financial advice also recommends that you have a car paid for in cash. Oh, and by the time you're 30, you should have a house that you put a 20% down payment on. The things that make people financially responsible are really expensive, and a lot of people simply can't afford them. It's easy to think to yourself that everybody in financial distress is doing something dumb. But the reality is that no matter how thrifty a lot of Americans get, they will struggle to even save up an emergency fund, let alone everything else that qualifies someone as financially responsible. People saved a lot of money during the pandemic because of government stimulus, paused student loans, and because spending money was hard. People were saving for the things that would make them financially secure. In a 2021 survey conducted on 1,037 Americans by Go Bank Rates, a financial market data firm, 44% said that they were saving for an emergency fund, 19% said that they were saving for retirement, and 13% said that they were saving for a home, which was roughly half of the respondents that didn't already own a home. In 2023, according to a follow-up report by Bloomberg and data from the Fed, all of the money that people were wishfully putting towards being financially responsible is gone.
What?
It's gone. It's all gone.
According to the report, only the top 20% of Americans still have any excess savings. With disheartening figures like this, people are more likely to give up on slow and steady financial responsibility and look for opportunities that could change their life overnight, like lotteries, get-rich-quick schemes, and risky investments. It has a low chance of success, but many Americans now think that they have no chance of success by doing it the slow and steady way, so they make these financial mistakes. People tried financial responsibility during the best years ever for saving money, and it evaporated just months later. Being poor is also really expensive. Poorer areas don't attract big stores, so people who live there either have to drive up for an hour round trip to get food or use convenience stores for groceries, which could charge a significant markup over big box retailers like Walmart, Trader Joe's, or Costco. Food deserts are just the first way that poor people stay poor. But what about the people who could do better? There are people who just don't have enough income left over after essentials to buy the increasingly expensive essentials to be financially responsible. But there are also a lot of people who do have the means to be financially responsible and just make dumb decisions. Otherwise, Dave Ramsey would have nobody to yell at on his show.
It's our choice,
Your
Jade.
choice is don't be stupid. That's your choice.
Well, there are actually 3 reasons why it's in your best interest for these people to get their shit together, and one big reason why you might not want them to. So it's time to learn how money works to find out if we can really afford for everybody to be financially responsible, and if we would even want that to happen. The reason that you don't want everybody else to be financially responsible is that it would make investing for your own financial goals more difficult. More money entering the stock market would push up prices, which is great if you already own all the stocks you ever want to purchase. But it's bad if you are planning on consistently investing over your career like financially responsible people do. A more expensive stock price does not affect the business fundamentals or performance of a company. So as a financially responsible investor, you should actually prefer that prices stay low. Warren Buffett is a legendary investor that people follow because of his long track record of finding undervalued companies to invest in. When Buffett buys a stock through Berkshire Hathaway, he needs to disclose his position to investors. When Buffett announces a new purchase, the market rallies behind him instantly, putting him in a profitable position on his purchase. That sounds like a perk of being one of the most legendary investors of all time. But Buffett has said in shareholder meetings that he hates when this happens because it makes a good stock more expensive to buy into if he wants to purchase more of a company in the future. Obviously, you are not Warren Buffett, but if everybody became financially responsible, you would share the same problem. If more people were buying the same shares that you wanted to buy to fund a long-term goal like retirement, then you will end up paying more for the same portfolio. The only time that you actually want a stock's price to be high is when you want to sell it. Currently, if everybody became savers and investors, the people that would stand to gain the most are wealthy people who already have large holdings of assets to sell to people entering the market for the first time. The same thing would happen for other financially responsible purchases like a house. If people gave up vacations, fancy dinners, and expensive cars to save diligently for a house, they would become even more expensive, making it harder for you to buy one, thus making it harder for you to be financially responsible. Additionally, investments like stocks and real estate only have value because they make something to sell to people. So if everybody decides that their 2-year-old iPhone is good enough and they don't need to upgrade, that would hurt the earnings of Apple as a company and you as a shareholder. So you might be thinking that maybe it's a good thing that so many people make so many dumb financial decisions. It's easier to get ahead if everybody else is tripping over themselves. But then there are 3 reasons why, despite the extra competition, you should still want people to be more financially responsible. The first reason is that people being better with their money would be better for everyone. People are afraid of a future where they will own nothing and be happy about it. The growth of subscription services, where people pay monthly for entertainment, applications, cars, food, housing, and everything in between, has grown in popularity in part because people no longer have the means or discipline to save up to make a one-time upfront purchase. Companies have capitalized on this to build a recurring revenue model where people pay a monthly fee for everything that works out to be a much worse deal on a time value adjusted basis. According to the Subscription Economy Index report, the market for subscription services has grown by 435% over the last decade. It is expected to grow even more by reaching a market size of $1.5 trillion by 2025. According to the market research and consulting firm Forrester, the #1 reason that subscription services have become so popular with consumers is exactly what you would expect. People don't have enough money to pay for things up front anymore. Now, subscription services are not bad by themselves. Sometimes it's a great way to try a product without committing to a single upfront purchase. And it has other advantages like forcing companies to push through updates on their services so they don't lose their recurring revenue. What is bad is when there is no other option that is not a subscription. There are now some things that are hard to buy without paying a monthly subscription. This very video was made using the Adobe Suite, which is no longer available for upfront purchase and can only be used on a subscription. Even if you want to buy something like a car, dealerships are going to make more money by putting you on a lease than they would by selling you a car in all cash, so they have structured their businesses to push those deals. Bullshit like this is only possible because there are enough people that buy these services that businesses have been able to transition to them, and in many cases, completely discontinue their upfront sales offerings. The second reason you should want everybody to be as financially responsible as possible is for exactly the opposite reason: an even scarier future where you own everything and are miserable. Poor financial planning and overconsumption go hand in hand. According to data from the EPA, the average American uses more than their body weight in consumable products every day. Reckless spending has financed big cars, big houses, big meals, and big convenience that all comes at a financial cost, but is also an environmental cost. Even if you don't personally care about the environmental impact, this benefit is still important to you. If people buy less of everything and are more conscious of where they spend their money, then there will be more stuff left over for you. Less consumption will also reduce how much we collectively pay in environmental taxes, which will make it even easier to be financially responsible. And that's the third reason why we can afford for everybody to be financially responsible, and would be better off if they were. Some companies need people to spend their money recklessly to stay in business. Fast fashion, consumer lenders, automakers, debt collectors, hotels, airlines, and restaurants all do well from people YOLOing their paycheck away or signing up for irresponsible amounts of debt. But other companies like groceries, healthcare, and repairers won't be as affected. Some companies would actually do better, as people have more money to make investment purchases into things that are expensive up front, but pay themselves off over time, like new homes, solar panels, and high-quality, long-lasting clothes. If you save money, you will eventually spend it on something. And long-term purchases are generally better for everyone than easy consumables. More responsible spending done by everybody with the intention of being financially secure will also mean services like Social Security will have more to give to people in need. The bonus fourth reason is that if people are spending less of their money on useless junk, then we won't need to work as hard to make that useless junk. Today, the average American is not working as many hours as they used to 100 years ago, but we still haven't got our work-life balance perfected. To find out who might have though, go and watch my new video over on how history works to find out if you work harder and have less free time than a medieval peasant. If you want more soul-crushing content like this, I write some of my even less monetization-friendly content on my totally free email newsletter Compounded Daily. You can sign up to that in the link below this video to keep on learning how money works.